Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode on the Bodybuilding News Network. As always, I'm your host, Saunch. Thank you for stopping by and checking out the channel. Before we get into today's video, let's go ahead and talk about the topics for today. We're going to be talking about Patrick Moore and his recent step away from his sponsorship, my thoughts on it. We're also going to be talking about a recent guest posing from the Miracle Bear, Urs Kalecinski, over in the German Fitness Expo, the FIBO. We're also going to be talking about a recent NPC recap and some big names that did some guest posings there. We're going to be talking about a most recent bikini champion and also a previous women's bikini Olympian winning that show. My thoughts, my takeaways from that show. A recent NABBA Universe champion in the men's open bodybuilding. My takeaways from that show. We're also going to be talking about goodvito, Vitaly, what he's been up to. We haven't seen him in a little bit. We're going to talk about him briefly. And we're going to be talking a little bit about the Indie Pro, just 5 weeks out. We have the favorite to reclaim and retain the title, Justin Rodriguez. So if you're interested in those styles of news stories, stay tuned. But besides that, let's go ahead and get into the video. And like I said in the beginning of the video with the introduction, Patrick Moore, he's a solid competitor. And you know what happened recently? I'm not too sure. He hasn't talked about it just yet. I know he will be talking about it on his YouTube, but Patrick Moore has stepped away from his most recent supplement sponsor. Now, for some reason, this seems to be very popular. People like to talk about this. Even looking at this guy, Cody over here on the Instagram saying, here comes Trigilli video. I mean, absolutely, that is Nick Trigilli's bread and butter is the drama. So I'm sure he'll do a much better coverage, or at least making this into a lot longer video than you know, my 2-minute take on it. But I don't really have too much to say on this, guys. It was a relatively small supplement company, Unlocked Sups, very small. I think it's an absolute crazy move for them to sign such a massive athlete. I'm sure Patrick wanted a pretty good signing bonus with them and bonuses, and you know, the company hasn't been around very long, people, so definitely some big moves from them, just being around you know, just under a year old. So I don't have too much to say on it, if I'm being honest, but we'll definitely find out a little bit more in the near future of exactly why Patrick is stepping away from Unlocked Sups. Next up, lightening the mood, Urs Kalecinski, the one of the favorites to become a future classic physique Olympian champion, recently did some guest posing at the FIBO Fitness Expo over there in Europe. I believe it's in Germany. And you know, what can we say, ladies and gentlemen, with these photos? He still looks phenomenal. I do believe he said he's going to be on the stage again before the Olympia. So definitely something to look forward to. This guy is just being such young blood in the men's open, but still being super competitive, and then shooting all the way up to, you know, battling it out potentially, at least staying in the top 4 in the men's classic Olympia. So stay tuned for more coverage on Urs Kalecinski, but I like what I'm seeing here with his guest posing. It's always nice to see these pros get out there and have some fun with the fans. In recent NPC news, we have a Kansas City native actually won the most recent, I believe it's called the NPC Texas Legends. He won the men's open here, and I can't be more happy for the guy. I know he's doing a show just coming up in a few weeks, the NPC Midwest, I believe it's called. Our buddy and frequent flyer co-host on the channel, Ty Jordan, also is going to be doing that show as well. But the big story here, besides Otto doing very well, or John Ott doing well at this show, getting some hardware. We have Keon Pearson on stage doing some guest posing, doing in bodybuilding trunks, nevertheless. So maybe a little bit of foresight, a little foreshadowing, like I was mentioning in the last video. Keon could still be doing 212. You know, he made that announcement that he's going to cut down to classic again, but ladies and gentlemen, he looks massive, even right next to Martin Fitzwater, a new up-and-coming IFBB pro in the men's open, just placing outside top 10 at that last show. I think it was the Texas Pro. I want to see more from him, definitely, but you know, looking at John here, the NPC guy in the middle, competing, or at least posing down next to these guys. I like what I'm seeing. I think John has a good future ahead of him. But the huge story here is I really do think Keon is going to stay in the 212. He's just too big, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, I think he's just so big. His muscles are just perfect when he's big and full like this, and I think he needs to stick with that. But that's just my take. Please let me know in the comment sections below your thoughts on Keon Pearson maybe switching and staying in 212 after his classic announcement. And then also make sure you check out John Ott over on Instagram, an up-and-coming rising star in the NPC, in men's open bodybuilding in the NPC. So next up, we have Ashley Kaltwasser. Now, this is a Miss Olympia, and also she's just been killing it lately on these open shows, if you want to call them that. Recently winning the Golden State Championships in bikini. Obviously, from what I know and from what I've heard, she is the winningest women's bikini champion of all time. And there's been conversations that her push to really hammer out these shows and keep winning all these smaller pro shows, you know, getting those quote unquote Olympia qualifications. She doesn't even need to qualify anymore after, you know, being a 3-time Olympia bikini champion. It looks like she's just going to keep rolling through these shows, winning as many as she can. But the conversation, getting back to my tangent, is people have said that this is kind of pulling her away from any chances of winning the Olympia again. She's always in prep. She's always super lean, and she's always winning. And it sounds like a crazy thing to say from someone who's, you know, winning all the time, but there is a conversation that she might not win the Olympia again. And the reason she's doing all these smaller shows is because she's really wanting to pad that record, put a lot of number and space on her bikini competing legacy. And that's no shot from me. I could, you know, it's neither here nor there what she wants to do with her career. Not that I don't care, but it's her career. If she wants to put her legacy as the most winning bikini IFBB pro and Olympian, by all means do so. But she most recently won this show, the Golden State Championships, and I wanted to give her a little bit of a spotlight here. Next up, we talked about NABBA in the introduction, and it's definitely not an organization we typically talk about here on BNN. And I think that's a tragedy. I think that's not very fair to these men and women, these competitors competing in the NABBA. This guy, apologies, I really don't know the fella's name. It's all in Korean, I do believe, but Lion King _ Park, so I'm assuming Mr. Park, recently won the NABBA Master Universe. I'm not sure about the name, but looking at these photos, looks phenomenal. I love the hair. Definitely not something you see on a Korean bodybuilding stage, is a dude rocking these crazy dreads. You know, I don't know too much about this fella's ethnicity or nationality. You know, I can assume by his last name and competing in Korea, he's probably Korean. But beyond that, not too sure. But the physique speaks volumes. Look at the legs. Look at those legs, guys. Goodness. The organization's is PCA, so that might help a little bit, but it is a Grand Prix, so I'm guessing it's the NABBA Korean Grand Prix, but who knows? Anywho, physique, phenomenal. Would I like to see him on an NPC stage? Absolutely. Would I like to see him on a pro stage? Absolutely. So best of luck to Mr. Park in his future endeavors. But I wanted to give a quick spotlight to this gentleman because he looks absolutely world class. Now, again, as we keep rolling through this video, goodvito, Vitaly Uganikov. Vitaly Uganikov. I'm sure I butchered that one, as I always do. But he shared a, you could say this is a physique update. Not so much. He's definitely in the off season. But, the conversation around this fella is that his physique is always amazing. He looks just crazy. The problem is he's never standing up against people that we can compare him to. He never is on an NPC stage or a pro stage where we can compare him to someone that we know has placed a specific way. Like if he were to pose next to Nick Walker or something, we could have a good idea of, what to expect from the guy. But for one reason or the other, either he's getting some juicy checks from his sponsor and from his organization that he competes in. It's either that or he's a little scared. I don't know. I really think it's just, it's not his time yet. He's going to hop into a show eventually. But in the meantime, he's been sharing some phenomenal physique updates this year. Definitely like to see him on a NPC or even potentially an IFBB Pro stage in the near future. But like I said, best of luck to goodvito in the near future. And finishing up this video, I'm going to talk a little bit to the super fans at the end, so stay tuned if you're still watching. But Justin Rodriguez is still on prep for the Indy Pro, just under, I believe it's 5 weeks out, the Indianapolis IFBB Pro show. Men's Open Bodybuilding, he won the title last year, the Indy Pro champ. We expect him to win again this year. They have not announced specifically any massive names that are going to be coming into that show. And that's not me throwing shade on anybody, but just looking at some of the competitors that have announced that they're going to be doing the show, I don't see anyone that's going to push Justin in the way that someone like a Nick Walker or, maybe someone like a Hunter Labrada, or even if Mohamed El Amam decided to come back. I mean, he had a really close shot last year. I think if he came again this year and brought that same conditioning, and if not better, he could be competitive here. Or even if Tonio Burton came to splash in, hard to say. But Justin Rodriguez, prepping for the Indy Pro, looks phenomenal, sharing lots of nice physique updates. If you want to watch the Indy Pro, I will have a link where you can get, it's like 10% or something off. So stay tuned for that, as my Indy Pro coverage will be in depth this year. I'm going to take some time off work and make sure I give you guys a solid and quality product. But what I wanted to talk about was Bob Ciccarello and the lady fit rock star. I think it's Isabel or Isabella something. I apologize. I can't think of her name off the top of my head. She will be doing, both of them will be doing the live stream audio. So you'll hear their names from time to time if I'm not talking on my own coverage. So stay tuned for that. But that'll do it, ladies and gentlemen, for another episode on BNN, the Bodybuilding News Network. If you enjoyed this style of content, please let me know what you liked about the video. And if you thought it was obnoxious, please let me know what you didn't like about the video in the comment sections below. Genuinely, I'm trying to make this channel the best that I can. So please do so. But for the super fans, let me know what shows you want me to cover tomorrow. There was a lot of NPC shows and even IFBB Pro shows with the Classic and the Bikini and the Wellness that happened this week. We briefly, really briefly, we talked about the Golden State Championships and the Bikini. There were other divisions. There was Classic Physique, there was Men's Physique, things of that nature, Olympia qualifications there. So let me know in the comment sections below, or of course, message me on Instagram if you want to, and let me know what you want to see in the next video. But that'll do it. My name's Saunch. Genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.